Hi, I'm Toya Brasky from Galveston, Texas. My Facebook page is Galveston Psychic Paranormal Researcher. I like to tell you stories about my work. When I first began coming out about my abilities, I offered to do a cold case here in the county. And as in every psychic person's history, there's always some time that you're not believed. So, with everything in my heart, I took my own money, about $2,000. I bought new camera equipment, I bought recorders, I bought tripods, I bought batteries, and I was so determined that I wanted to help a cold case that had been not solved for 40 years. So I was very scared and intimidated about contacting anybody about the case. I just knew that I do have abilities and I was going to try to help. I meant that really sincerely. So I contacted the police department and I let them know that I was going to go out there and I was going to do some research. And I also had to contact property owners as the murder site is now a private property. So I did meet opposition with some of those things, but in the end, after a lot of negotiation, I did get permission to come out on the property. Um, I normally do my work at night, not because it's a scare factor, but because to photograph spirits, it's easier to photograph a spirit if it is nighttime and you're using a flash, because that flash will pick up their magnetic energy, as to where in the daytime it's almost a zero possibility of getting ghost photos. So I was only given permission to come out to this private property um, in the daylight. And so that scared me so bad because I thought, oh my gosh, they're going to think I'm such a fool. They're going to think I'm a crazy person. I'm not going to get any evidence whatsoever because I've never done an investigation during the day. So I'm probably doomed from the beginning. But at the same time, I knew that I could not pass up the opportunity. So I went out there with the most sincere heart, really, really trying to be a help to this case. And um, it ended up that sadly I was sabotaged in every way possible. Instead of the police department being out there to just observe what I do and to watch me to be safe, I got ridiculed. They used their scanners to talk over the radio. It messed up every bit of the work that I did. Um, they used intimidation to try to scare me to leave the property. They talked over my EVPs and made jokes on the radio. So every bit of the things that I did to try to help that case were just completely sabotaged. My work, several hours of being out on the property, was just completely sabotaged by the police department talking over my EVPs. Um, it was really sad to me. I didn't leave even though I knew that they were out there, even though I knew that they didn't like me being on the property. And before I was getting ready to leave that property, I really didn't know if I got any evidence whatsoever. The sun was so bright that day that I couldn't see any of the LEDs on my cameras. I never listened to my EVPs until the end of my project. So normally what I do is I just do a whole bunch of EVPs, but I don't stop to listen to them until I get home and I download them. So as I was getting ready to leave, I was a little bit frustrated because I could hear the police department out there, but I was ignoring them. I was determined that This was my one chance to be out on the property. So I went ahead and I just stayed no matter what they said on the radio. I just stayed and I did my work. I returned for a couple of days. It was very hard work. Um, the location of this cold case is out in a field with ants, bugs, traffic sounds, everything that you can think of. The police radar in the back. It was scary because the nature of the cold case is something very grim. Um, so it was a little bit scary to be out there. The entire time that I was out there, with my psychic ability, I could hear demonic chanting, like satanic chanting. And so that was distracting the entire time that I was there. And later I found out the reason why I could hear that chanting was because satanic rituals were done on that property. So, on my last day that I was out at that property, I remember being so frustrated. I stood in front of a tree that was out on the property, and before I left, I just wanted to tell the murder victims that I tried with all of my heart. So I had my tripod set up on remote camera options, and I stood in front of the tree and I talked to the spirits out there. I looked out and I looked at all of their grave markers, and I said, I don't know if I've helped you today. I tried with everything in my heart to help you. I don't know if I got any evidence at all, but I thank you for letting me come out. And so I didn't look at any of my pictures. I just went ahead and I left. And when I came home and I downloaded my pictures, the very last photo of me standing in front of that tree had the spirit of murder victim Audrey Lee Cook kneeling below the tree underneath me. To this day, that photograph made me so happy. I was so scared that I wouldn't get any evidence whatsoever with it being daylight out there and with all the distractions. But that proves that spirits do exist, and it proves that she appeared and she came and she heard me. I also got her on EVP. That was one of the EVPs that were not sabotaged. But that photograph made me so happy because I doubted myself so much going out there, and I was so scared and intimidated of failing that I didn't want to look like a crazy person or a fool. I really meant to help that situation. And as I talk about it, it still makes me sad today because that particular cold case has not been solved for 40 years. And what I would like to say to those people who opposed my work and tried to sabotage it, and you know who you are, and I also know who you are, why would you not welcome someone coming to help your situation when you yourself are unable to solve it? No matter how crazy it may sound, no matter how against your beliefs it is, whether it's a religious belief or you're just a skeptic, at this point, 40 years of not solving the case, I would really think and hope that you would welcome any help whatsoever. And I cannot promise, I can never promise that I can come up with anything that will help the case, but I'm saying that it was worth letting me try and letting me practice and remaining quiet to see what could come up. I wish that things would have worked out differently. I think that I've watched other psychic investigation shows where almost every psychic, when they were beginning, were doubted. ridiculed. Even some of them were put in jail as suspects. And the thing about it is every psychic has to practice. You have to practice this ability or you will not get better. And although I was sad about not being able to be taken seriously on that case, um, later, um, somebody who also used the same search and rescue contacted me about a family member of theirs that had been murdered. The murder victim was Amber Chantel Elkins. She was brutally murdered. I did not know anything whatsoever about the case, so I just decided I would try to look at a photo of her and I would try to see what I came up with. There were several things that I did get right, and some things that didn't come to me at all. Remember, I'm just beginning to do this work. But Amber's mother confirmed to me that many of the things that I told her were absolutely true about the case. To push things even further, Amber had a cousin, Cassandra. Cassandra did not believe in my skills whatsoever. So Cassandra challenged me and said, I want you to ask Amber something only me and her would know. So I accepted her challenge and I decided to do an EVP session, and I called upon Amber and I asked Amber, I said, look, your cousin Cassandra does not believe in what I do. She doesn't believe that I'm speaking to you. And Cassandra has asked me to ask you, is there something that only you and her would know? Can you tell me that so that I can give the information to her? Well, on that day, I was having a lot of trouble. Sometimes when you do EVPs, when you're trying to contact one person, you open a portal and many spirits come in. So when those extra spirits come in, a lot of times there's prankster spirits that will say crazy things, that will talk over your session. They often try to just say things that are jokingly or things that aren't true at all, and it messes up your work. So that day I felt like there was a lot of prankster spirits and my session was not going good and I was getting very frustrated. And I heard Amber say, tell Cassandra about the time that we pushed somebody out the window. So at the time that I heard that, I was expecting Amber to say something very loving and touching, and this just sounded completely off. So I was just going to erase it. I wasn't even going to tell Cassandra. I wasn't going to tell the family that she said that. And I had ended the session, and right about then my phone had rang, and it was Cassandra texting me to find out had I got any information whatsoever. And at that time I texted Cassandra back and I told her, I said, look, I don't think today is a good day to do the session. I'm having a lot of prankster spirits mess up the EVPs, and I didn't get anything good. All I got was some stupid comment like, tell her about the time we pushed somebody out the window. Well, at that time, Cassandra texted back, oh my gosh, I have no doubt that you're speaking to Amber, that this is real. She said there is no way that anyone could know this information. And she said when we were teenagers, we snuck a boy into our bedroom, and Amber's stepfather came into the room and caught him and pushed him out the window. And she said, I'm absolutely convinced that you are speaking to Amber, because no one whatsoever would be able to know that. I have never put it on Facebook. I have not told anybody. So I believe what you do is real. So that proves that I am able to pick up real information. It's very frustrating to do. It is very difficult. Um, I don't believe it's really my skills. It's dependent upon if the Spirit wants to communicate with me. So I can never promise a family that I will get evidence of their loved one being there. It's all dependent upon if that Spirit wants to come through. Um, so, in hindsight of that story about Cassandra and Amber, I wish that the police department would have given me a real chance to go out there to practice my skills, that they would have remained completely quiet and just stood in the background to protect me while I was out there, and let me do my work and just by chance see if I could come up with any piece of the puzzle that they did not know. I can't promise that I'll be able to do that, um, but I would like to try. And sadly, when I came home from my first cold case, I discovered that every one of my EVPs were messed up because the police department was talking to me over the radio. I think they went as far as to put an app on my phone to try to sabotage any EVPs that I had. I think that they got on my internet. Um, so it was very frustrating that I put all this money, my own personal money, without asking anybody, um, for anything in return. Um, that I spent all of that money, all of that time, and was just sabotaged. To this day, it makes my heart so sad. But there's nothing you can do about people like that. But I do believe there is a spirit karma that if they really spent all that time sabotaging work that could have helped somebody, at some time and some point, that karma is going to return to them in some way. So I just wanted to tell you that story, that it's always scary to do this type of work because you never want to hurt a family. Um, there's a lot of times that I get EVPs that I absolutely will not pass to the family. I've gotten EVPs from the actual murderer. If a murderer has passed away and also the murder victim is deceased, sometimes both of them will show up in the EVP. It doesn't scare me to do this type of work. I love doing this type of work, and I hope that I get more practice and that I build better skills and I'm able to share some of that with you. So anyway, I just wanted to take the time today to tell you that story and to tell you that I have not given up, even when I was just crushed in my spirit by being sabotaged like that. I continue to do this, and I'm going to continue and move forward and just keep trying to practice and see what I can come up with. So thank you very much for following me, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I'm not going to keep you all night, so have a good night. Bye.